दर्शकवृन्द नमस्कार, म प्रकाश घिमिरे। कार्यक्रम रूपान्तरणमा तपाईलाई स्वागत छ। हामी यो रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रममा समष्टिगत विकाससँग जोडिएका विशिष्टीकृत विषयवस्तुमा विवेचना र छलफल गर्छौं। आज वैशाख 12 गते, आजको सन्दर्भ कालो दिन अर्थात् गत वैशाख 12 गते गएको भूकम्प र त्यसले निम्त्याएको विनाशको दिन परेको छ। त्यसैले आजको दिनमा हामी यही प्रसङ्गमा कुराकानी गर्छौं र कुराकानीको प्रसङ्ग छ खास गरी अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय गैर सरकारी संस्थाहरूले भूकम्प गए पश्चात पुनर्निर्माण र पुनर्लाभका कार्यक्रमहरूमा खेलेको भूमिका र उनीहरूको सिकाइ तथा अनुभव यसै विषयमा केन्द्रित रहेर आज हामी कुराकानी गर्छौं। यो विषयमा कुराकानी गर्न आज हामीसँग डिसिए संस्थाका रिजनल रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ डेभिड वालेस स्मिथ हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ। David, please accept my warm welcome on behalf of our organizations and program team.
Thank you, Prakash.
After the earthquake, devastating earthquake, many INGOs have been making their collective efforts to address the issues of the earthquake survivor. Can you please begin with your experience working with these peoples here in Nepal?
Well, DCA, as some people probably know, is a Danish NGO. We've been here since 2007, and since 2013 we've had a regional office here. So we already had programs in place in Nepal before the earthquake. But from the 25th of April, we, as part of a group called the ACT Alliance, responded immediately with relief items. In the first 3 days, we were already responding with our partner organizations, notably Friends Service Committee of Nepal and others, with those items, food and non-food items to begin with, under the understanding that we would supply those in the first instance and then the government would take on that responsibility later. So that was our initial response. I think many INGOs reacted within the first 2 or 3 days and were able to field staff and equipment and materials within 3 days. In our case, on the third day, we were able to be distributing those items.
Now let's talk about DRR, current DRR issues here in Nepal.
Okay.
Undoubtedly, reconstruction is the major issue. Reconstruction and recovery are the major issues related to DRR here in Nepal at this time. What are the major activities that DCA have been implementing to address the recovery and the reconstruction issue?
I think in our case, we're focusing more on livelihoods recoveries. And what we have tried to do is to establish groups of people who've been very badly affected. Within those groups, they will then have business plans and they'll decide what they need to recover. Mm-hmm. So in some cases...
Family business plan or community business plan?
Household, family business plan. So through the group, they'll decide who gets funding and support first. And then those particular households or families will decide they need goats, or they need to raise chickens, or they want to do vegetable farming in order to recover a little bit. So the funds are given to them to do the goats or whatever. So I think it's quite interesting because the business plan requires people to look at it and see, will I make any money from this? Will it actually help me to recover my livelihood? So it's kind of a learning at the same time.
Number one priority of earthquake survivor is undoubtedly reconstructing new house.
That's right.
But we are addressing the livelihood issue. Do they prioritize the livelihood issue?
I think in our case, we feel like as part of ACT and as part of the wider INGO grouping, that we need to focus on certain aspects and others will focus on the shelter. We are still providing what we call temporary shelter, whilst then the process of the permanent shelter will come into effect very soon through the NRA and through that whole process, as we all know. So our temporary shelter is materials that can be used immediately, but then they will be used within the permanent shelter. Mm-hmm. So they take the temporary stuff, the roofing sheets, other materials, and they can use it again. So it's not like we're building a separate thing, but it's something that is helpful later on when they do their permanent shelter.
In how many districts are you working at this time?
We have several projects, Prakash. Within this ACT work, we're working in Lalitpur, Bhaktapur, Gorkha and Dading. We also have other projects within a consortium, meaning a group of INGOs, of 3 or 4 of them, where we're the lead, in Raswa, Sindhupalchok, Dading again, and Makwanpur, and in another case also in Gorkha. So we are taking the lead, getting funding from other sources, and not just ACT, but other sources, and we are managing our other colleagues to do it in their district, we do it in our district, and we do similar things so that there's a greater impact.
Have you been with communities? Did you interact with people?
Yes.
Earthquake survivor
Yes,
or
we
affected
did.
people?
Yeah.
What is their major concern? And
I
what is
think-
their expectation?
Of course, they want their houses to be rebuilt, but this depends on the process, as we know, at national level to be resolved and making it clear that that can happen.
Based on the interactions with the peoples and your experience working with the communities, what are the major issues of livelihood?
I think they've lost all their animals. They've lost their animal sheds. In many cases, they haven't been able to get their access to their seeds because they've been buried. So they need something that will give them a little bit more security, isn't it? Goats is one thing that they've chosen. Originally, when we started this, it was 80% of people just wanted goats because that's the easiest one. There wasn't a lot of water. It was a drier time of year. Now more and more people are wanting to do other things. Small businesses, the chickens still, and the vegetable farming. So all of those things they've lost. They need to make some money, some modest money, rather than having to migrate elsewhere.
David, the whole country is concentrated on reconstruction and recovery issue within firstly within 14 district, then 31, then remaining 17 district altogether for 31 district. Yeah. Same case in NGOs, INGOs as well. But our reconstruction and recovery action has not been speeded up.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes, I think there is some frustration about that. We find that we're managing. There were the issues of the informal border blockade that caused a lot of trouble for us to get supplies and to stay on track, to get materials for temporary housing and winterization. Now I think that's okay. We hope now that the resolution of the whole process of registration of projects with NRA and Social Welfare Council will also be clarified so that that doesn't delay things too greatly. So we're expecting greater clarity on that across all of the INGOs so that we can continue with some momentum and even pick it up in terms of recovery.
You are also involved with AIN. Yeah?
Yes.
You are also a member of his steering committee
That's right.
of AIN.
Yes.
Yeah. As a member of AIN and a member of steering committee of AIN, what is your personal opinion regarding the role and contribution of INGO, but regarding the reconstruction and recovery here in Nepal? Our
estimate is that we're so far contributing over the past year and in the recovery program somewhere in the neighborhood of $447 to $450 million in terms of support, which is quite a considerable amount, we believe. We also feel that we can...
It is for relief?
Initially for relief and now for recovery.
Okay.
So roughly half, a little bit more than half now for recovery of that amount. And that we hope will increase as we do further fundraising over the longer term. So we feel we're 130 members within AIN. So we do have huge potential to provide support in all of the areas that are important for the recovery. And we're not all doing the same thing, luckily. We are trying to complement each other and to work together so that there is no major duplication or overlap. And AIN is one vehicle for us to sort of share our information about what we're doing and then try to collaborate further.
Do you have coordination with among the all AIN members so that you can't duplicate the same activities and rather the activities can be expanded to the more and more beneficiaries?
We try as much as we can to do that. Of course, the main role for coordination is the government of Nepal, and they will tell us where we should be working and in which sectors. So we have always, from the beginning, been collaborating very closely, particularly at the district level, with the chief district officer, the district disaster response committee, and the local development officer. This is crucial for it to be coordinated properly at the district level. Otherwise, they're the people that know. So that's where we try to do much of the coordination.
You just presented the data, $450 million have been spent for the earthquake survivor on behalf of AIN member, Yeah. That's the amount of 2015 or?
Let's say approximately half of that has been for the first year of relief and initial early recovery. Now about half, 220, 230 estimate is for this new phase of recovery.
There is no questions regarding the investment fund, regarding the funding support from donor agencies, INGOs, but there is one question regarding the transparency and its efficiency of that investment as well. What about the accountability, transparency, and its efficiency of this amount?
Excellent question, and I think AIN is also very strongly supporting the need for transparency, and through our systems, through this SWC requirements, we are reporting very regularly through them. We have regular evaluation meetings with SWC and the concerned ministries. There are 8, 9, or 10, depending on which sector we're in. There are evaluations that are also funded through SWC and independent consultants of our programs. So that's one way. All our data is available there, and it's shared through the SWC to the Ministry of Women, who then share across all of government. But not only that, the Ministry of Finance also has the database on all incoming aid. So that's donors and INGOs as well. So we're required to also register what we're bringing in through the Ministry of Finance.
As a member of steering committee of AIN, personally, are you satisfied with the result achieved from the investment on behalf of INGO here in Nepal?
Of course, we can be more efficient and we can do more. So we're never satisfied, I think, you put it that way. But I have to say, like in our case, we've managed to reach over 150,000 people, and on average, a package of those things that I've mentioned, worth about $190, $200 per household, has been provided. And we can prove that. And I think it's important that people have access to that kind of information. They can see that we've done that and what it is exactly that goes there. And I think we're not satisfied with that. We want it to get even better. We want to improve that. So the way we're doing it is through the local committees that we have, through our local partners. There are committees at the community level for WASH, for this livelihoods program that I mentioned. There's also something we call community mediators, which is quite an interesting concept. The communities themselves said, you need to be a little bit better. We have some problems here. That family didn't get enough of this or that. So what can you do about it? So we discussed it, and we developed an idea of community mediators, who are normally people who are mothers or grandmothers or grandfathers, elected by the community, go through a training so that they are able to deal with some sort of conflict. If you're not happy, you didn't get what I got through the NGO process, the mediator will come in and discuss it, and then it will be in an open forum in the community, and hopefully be resolved in the community. So we think it's quite exciting that now we have the local people that are taking charge of that. Through these issues that come up, they tell our partners, and our partners tell us, this is a problem. We need to change what we're doing. Yeah. We need to do more chickens and goats or whatever it might be. But that's the way we want it to come up from there and into our own sort of decisions. And then we can shift what we're doing.
Yeah. In the universe, there are lots of experience working after the devastating disaster. Yeah. Comparing with these other country of the world, where do you find the INGOs working in Nepal to respond to the recovery and reconstruction issues?
So Indonesia and in Pakistan after the earthquake. In the last few months, there have been experts from those countries that have come here and told us how they did it. I think what was interesting, they did it very different ways. One was an army general in Pakistan, the other one was an academic in charge of it. They both said, you need to make it a simple system, make it easy for people who are responding to do their job. So that means simplify the processes of registration and agreements and the bureaucracy so that there is a chance to move faster. And I think we need to make some progress on that still in Nepal, need to learn from those experiences. On the other hand, in Haiti, there was little coordination and it led to a lot of wasted funding and so on.
Coordination means between INGOs or state agencies?
Everybody. There was nobody really coordinating. We think that here the coordination has been fairly reasonable, at least when it was at the district level. We knew who was in charge and we could work through them, and there were clusters by sector that were organized at the district level. So you could discuss a water issue, you could discuss the livelihoods issue, you could look at shelter, and then come to an agreement there. So we thought that decentralized type of authorization to the district worked quite well.
INGOs have been working by coordinating with SWC, Social Welfare Council here in Nepal, which is a regulatory body of INGOs. But recently, National Reconstruction Authority has endorsed different guidelines for INGOs, which target those INGOs which are working in the field of reconstruction and recovery. What is your opinion regarding this dual system?
I think what's important is what I just said, is that the system will allow the response to happen fast in a coordinated manner where government knows who's doing what. It doesn't, at this point in time, it's important, that's the primary goal because people need that help. However, in the longer term, AIN has always supported the one-door policy through the SWC because that makes it simpler for us to do all our documentation and show them what we intend to do. And then they will tell the rest of government, this is what is happening. It improves the efficiency of that process. At the moment, there are long delays in those agreements with SWC for various reasons. So we still support them as our one door, but we need to have things happen more rapidly. So the question is still in the air. If we can find a way that will make things happen more quickly and efficiently, then I think INGOs will be happy.
You have worked with communities, government agencies, aligned agencies, and a group of peoples here. What is your learning working with Nepali communities regarding the recovery, response, relief, and reconstruction?
I think there are a few things. We need to recognize that communities have a lot of resources, and they are their own resources. Okay. And I don't mean goats necessarily or houses, but their skills, their experience, their knowledge, their ability to work together to do something that will resolve a problem. And that's crucial for us. They are resilient What we mean by resilient normally, which is jargon, is that people are flexible, they can recover from these huge shocks, these earthquakes.
Are we recognizing or missing that part?
No, I think that's genuinely there in Nepal. The communities do have that resilience. You could see.
Okay, that's fine. Do you think the actor, reconstruction actor, are recognizing that asset or missing?
I think it's something that some of the actors need to recognize much more.
It
Yes.
is remained to be addressed and recognized. Yeah.
Well, you need to take what we call a development perspective on the humanitarian, which means in development it's a slower process. You have to work through the communities first. You need to understand what their needs are. They need to express what they want, and then you do it. I think this is what is a challenge now in the recovery for all of us, is to think more in that way, in a speeded up way,
Okay.
because there's not as much time as in a normal development project.
Yeah. What are the other learnings? Because you have identified and outlined very crucial points. Do you have other learning?
Well, we obviously work very closely with our local partners, local NGOs, and I think it's very, very important for that partnership to be open and frank. They need to be willing and not shy about telling us they're not in agreement with something, and then we need to talk about it and change what we're doing. We cannot impose a certain way of working if in the reality locally in Nepal it won't work. They know better than we do what works and what might not work.
Based on your earlier experiences and learning, what are the reconstruction and recovery challenges
I think
in Nepal?
it's going to take a long time. We know that the recovery will take a long time, more than 5 years, most certainly. We have to live with that reality. Everybody does. But then we need to then have a long-term commitment from our side as INGOs. The challenge for us will be to maintain the resources to be able to do that from outside. So we hope that from our internal perspective we can do that. But everybody needs to look at the longer term and be committed to the process for 5 years or more if possible.
What are the future plans of your organization?
We want to continue with very much water supply, sanitation and hygiene, improving livelihoods, which we have been doing since 2007 anyway in the far west and other parts of the country. Improving people's ability to be prepared for a disaster, DRR, which again many NGOs have been working on over the years, so that the community know what to do if something happens. They know if it's a flood, where they need to go, how they protect their young ones and their cattle, how they protect their documents even, how they have some food. So those kinds of things are also crucial. We think what you mentioned about transparency and accountability needs to improve. Our plans are around how we can listen more openly to what people say in the village and do things as a consequence of what they say. So that accountability, I think, is for people that are receiving services from us is very crucial too. That's in our very near future plans.
In your opinion, what are the future challenges?
The rebuilding.
I'm not asking the challenges of INGOs and DCA.
Yeah.
I am asking you, I am indicating whole reconstruction and recovery challenges in future.
I think even the economy needs to recover not only from the earthquake but from the problems that we had at the end of last year. There needs to be a recovery of the marketplace. I think we need to look more in a unified manner at what those things mean. So how do we contribute to that? It's not just projects anymore, but how do we contribute to the economy developing as a whole, as Nepali citizens, as supporters from outside like us, as the Nepali government. There needs to be a clear plan of how to recover that economy. Socially, we need to also pay more attention to the social development goals. Those are still there no matter what, so I think we need to keep those in mind, that Nepal was on track for many of those before the earthquake. We need to get back on track for all of those, and I think that's crucial.
Do we need structural change, or we can add the additional thing within the existing system?
Now, that's a major question.
Just asking you your personal opinion.
Personally, I think decentralization is I think an opportunity. If we were able to have at some point decentralized government and elections at the district level, this will be supportive of the districts having a little bit more kind of say in their own development. We should try to spread the resources so that the districts are able to do things. I'm talking about government budgets. We need civil society to be participating in that whole process, and I think we've always been working on that before the earthquakes and so on, how to bring vulnerable groups, how to bring women into the VDC committee, how to get them to have the confidence to speak to somebody like you in an important television domain, to say, this is what I want, I'm from village so-and-so. How do you get that to happen? I think that's very crucial for the true development of Nepal, is that civil society gets their voice and become more confident, and they contribute in a positive way to development at that district level and then at the national level. So that's a big challenge, I think.
Okay, thank you, David, for your precious and valuable time and word.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
हस्त दर्शकवृन्द, यही कुराकानीका साथ आजको रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रम यहाँ टुङ्ग्याउँछौँ। आज हामीले डिसिए भन्ने संस्थाका साउथ एसिया रिजनल रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ डेभिड वालेस स्मिथसँग कुराकानी गऱ्यौँ र उहाँसँगको गरिएको कुराकानीको निष्कर्ष यो हो कि नेपालमा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय गैर सरकारी संस्थाहरूले पुनर्लाभ र पुनर्निर्माण अनि सँगसँगै राहत वितरणका क्षेत्रमा निकै राम्रो काम गरे, तर पनि उनीहरूले सुधार गर्नुपर्ने ठाउँहरू धेरै छन्। आगामी दिनमा सरकारसँग मिलेर अझ नजिकको समन्वय, सशक्त समन्वय गरेर सशक्त ढङ्गले अगाडि जानुपर्छ र हाम्रो पुनर्लाभ र पुनर्निर्माणको कार्यलाई गतिशील बनाउनुपर्छ भन्ने उहाँको निष्कर्ष छ। यही निष्कर्षका साथ रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रम यहाँ टुङ्गिन्छ। हामीलाई पनि बिदा दिनुहोस्। नमस्कार।